What up, what up, what up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with another brand new review for the Real Housewives of Orange County. This is season number 18, episode number 15. Episode was titled Double Decker Drama, you guys. Now, before we do jump into the episode, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I'll need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, you guys, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and jump into this episode of The Real Housewives of, what is this, Orange County? I have to think about it for a minute, you guys. But yeah, let's get into it, shall we? Now, I want you guys to tell me down in the comment section, or if you guys are in the live, what did you guys think about this episode? What I will say is that ending of the episode, I was so here for it. I was absolutely 100% here for what happened at the end of the episode. But before we do get to the end, we got to start at the beginning of the episode. So you know that the girls, they are still in London, right? S- And you guys remember what happened in the last episode was the situation between have not Shannon and Tamra, where Tamra was going off on Shannon, right? So the next morning, Shannon, we see her talking to Emily, and Shannon is still in her feelings about what happened the night before with Tamara, and I'm okay with that, right? So the first half of this episode, it was literally the girls, they had split up with each other. So, some of them, we saw Heather talking to, who was Heather with? I forgot who Heather was with. Oh, she went to, so it was Heather, Emily, and Shannon in one room. Then you had Katie and Tamara together. Then you had Jen and Gina together, right? So they were all talking about different things, right? So we see Katie. So Katie and Tamara, they went to a spa, right? And they were talking about Shannon. Here's my thing when it comes to Tamara talking about Shannon. She's talking about the fact that she wants Shannon to have accountability. And it's like, pot meat kettle, because you don't take accountability for anything that you say or do, right? So she also feels that when it comes to Shannon, Shannon lives above her means. And I was like, really? You believe Shannon lives above her means, but yet and still, you're the person who got fired from this show, had a hissy fit about being fired from the show. But okay, but Shannon lives above her means. I think you probably live above your means too, Tamra. So please put the up to the shut. That's all I want from Tamra, to put the up to the shut, right? And so they're talking, right? So then she's also talking about the fact that she's whenever Heather talks to Shannon, she's gonna probably flip the script. And I was like, oh, kind of like what you do too, right? So we see Gina and Jen, right? So Gina and Jen are talking about this text message that Shannon showed Gina in last week's episode that showed that Alexis was 100% in on that lawsuit that she and Tamara got after that season of OC with the Bellinos, right? So Gina feels a way because she feels like when it comes to Tamara, since Shannon did send her that text message, she feels that she feels what I've been saying this whole entire season when it comes to Tamara is the fact that Tamara is befriending Alexis to go after Shannon, which I've said that so many times this season, and I still believe that to be a fact and to be truthful, right? Because if we sit and just literally think about it, but like I've said plenty of times before, the thing with Tamara is I do feel like Tamara still harbors some ill feelings and some resentment towards Shannon for staying on OC after she got let go from the show. But it's like, girl, just because they let you go, yes, we're friends, but I'm not going to get rid of they kept me. I'm not going to let go of my paycheck because Bravo and, our production company said no more Tamara. So That's how I feel. But you guys, tell me what you think, what you feel, if you agree or disagree. It is what it is, right? I don't have a problem with that. So then we see Heather. So Heather went to go talk to Shannon, right? And Shannon told Heather that she was completely hurt by her saying that she felt like that she was using her, right? And Shannon says that the conversation that she had with Heather in Sonoma, she really just wanted that to stay between the two of them. And I was like, okay, I get that, right? And she didn't want to bring it to the other girls right then. And I'm like, okay, cool. So Heather's in her interview, and Heather is saying, like, Shannon does this to me all the time, right? And he did a flashback to last season's reunion. And they also, the thing is, because Heather is saying, she went on Jeff Lewis' podcast. Now, I don't watch Jeff Lewis, so I don't necessarily know if on Jeff Lewis' podcast that Shannon actually spoke about John knowing if she was, actually had the accident or not. But then she also says that, Tamara had told this to her. So she's pretty sure that Shannon had the conversation with Tamara. And I'm like, okay, if she had the conversation with Tamara, that's one person. It's not the entire group that she had the conversation with. So I think we're playing a little bit of semantics here, Heather, but neither here nor there, right? So Heather says to her, did you ever think to pay him? And I was like, Heather, she offered the man money. The man didn't want to sign a non-disparaging agreement. So yes. And so Shannon, in true Shannon fashion, was like, I have proof. So Shannon went to her room and got this notepad paper that she has where she's written out every date and thing that she's paid for. And I was with Emily and Heather because they were dying laughing, right? And they were, I think it was Emma was like, girl, have you ever thought about using like an Excel spreadsheet? I was like, exactly. An Excel spreadsheet, get notes on your phone, something, beloved, because my God, today, all those papers, that was a whole lot. So after that, we see as Gina is still talking to Jen, right? So Gina is talking to Jen about this situation the night before with Heather and the mammogram thing, right? And what I will say is I get Gina's point of view, and I also got Heather's point of view. I said that last week too, right? When it comes down to it, yes, the ladies could have asked her about, her mammogram in that moment. But also in last week's episode, I will say Heather was being very passive aggressive because when Tamara asked about it, Tamara wasn't there and she didn't really want to talk about it. So it's like, so you're just doing this for the sake of doing it because that's what it was coming off as, right? So then Jen says that Heather had texted the group and basically told them that she didn't want to talk about this on camera. So you can also look at this as a way of the girls of being like, okay, well, you said you don't want to talk about this, so we're respecting your wishes and not talking about it. And you guys can tell me your thoughts and your opinions about that. But I can kind of see where the girls are coming from, but I still think that in the moment they could have just said, everything good and left it up to Heather to be like, well, right now I don't want to have a conversation about it. Or she could have opened up about it. Either way it goes, right? Now, they also talked about the fact that when it comes to Heather, Gina spilled the beans that dress that Jen had previously wore, that Heather was in Nordstrom and she walked by the dress and she had called up, she either called or texted Tamara, telling Tamara that she saw the dress and that the dress that she got, it's like $2,000. And Jen is pissed off, like, why is she concerned about, what how much the dress is? And I'll give it to Jen. Why are you concerned, Heather? Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be concerned about how much this dress is that this girl got on. Like, do you want to pay for it? Because if you want to pay for it, then go ahead and pay for it, right? So this is basically just to kind of show that, I guess, Heather and Tamara talk about the girls behind their backs. But I was like, you all talk about each other behind each other's backs. So, touche, right? Tomato, tomato. Now, we move back over with Tamra and Katie. So, Tamra is talking about this FBI thing when it comes down to Ryan. Now, I've said it plenty of times before, and I'll say it again. This whole FBI stuff, it is very weird, and I don't understand. I know, well, actually, let me not say I don't understand the particulars of it. I do understand the particulars of it, right? But I'm just kind of confused what what Ryan's per se did, right? I think that's what I'm trying to kind of figure out. What are they alleging that Ryan did or knew? That's the question that I have about this case, right? But Tamara's talking about it. It's like, Tamara, shut up and mind your business. Like, that's why you getting sued now by that man. That man showed you he ain't nothing to play with, and he's suing your ass. So, and then after that, we moved. Like I said, this episode was jumping around, you guys. So that's a lot of what we were doing. So at one point, we moved back over to Jen and Gina talking, right? And when it comes to Jen, I'm just like, Jen, girl, I don't know why on God's green earth, after what happened to you last season with Tamara, I don't know why you forgave Tamara, and I don't know why you would think Tamara is still your friend. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it, right? So after that, we see as the ladies are, so they go out for the day. So they get on a double, one of those, the double decker vans, right? And it was hilarious when Katie said, I can't hear what the guy is saying. And so they were like, he's talking? And they were like, yeah, he's talking, but we just don't know what he's saying, right? So that led Gina to, address Heather and the whole mammogram thing, right? And like I said, I get all sides of it. If she told y'all that she didn't want to talk about it on camera, then I'm here for y'all respecting her wishes, right? And Gina brought that up. She was like, you told us that you didn't want to talk about it on camera. And so let Heather say it. She said that she didn't want to talk about her family's medical history on camera. And I was like, huh? Why would they bring up your family's medical history on camera? And what particular, like, are you talking about a certain family member? Like, I was so confused by that conversation. And it actually honestly went nowhere because Heather didn't want to hear what one really listening to Gina. I was like, Gina, you kind of, this is kind of a deceased horse that you're just beating with a stick at this point because she ain't moving. And she's like, she was, she was talking about that last night, and she's kind of moved. She was basically saying she's moved on from it. And I was like, okay. So then these two got into a back and forth with each other, right? Because Gina was just like, I want to be a good friend to you, and I don't know what that looks like. And she, so she made a comment about Katie, and Katie like she's talking about me. I was like, yes, she is. So then Gina was like, well, you want to talk about Katie, but you was on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, and Andy asked a question of about somebody's house of the group whose house cost the least. And now, granted, this is much like the situation with Aaron and Brand on the Real Housewives of New York. Andy said that Gina's house might be the least expensive, and she didn't say anything. And I can kind of give Gina this. It's the fact that you didn't say anything. But again, girl, what did you want her to say? And what did you want her to say to y'all's boss? Like, Andy is y'all's boss. So I don't really know what you expected for Heather to say in your defense. Maybe say, oh no, Andy, I think Gina's house is worth a pretty penny. All she said was she hasn't been to everybody's house. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. But I mean, Gina felt the way Gina felt the way. So her and Heather got, like I said, they were into it, and Heather told her this is all bullshit. And I was like, that's something I agree with you on, Heather. So we see as the group split up, right? So it is Shannon, Emily, Jen, and Gina together, and then it's Katie, Heather, and Tamara together, right? So I think Heather, Tamara, and Gina, and not Gina, but Katie, They went to like a place where you can I don't know what those what that snack food it was. I don't know what that was. I know it was chocolate, right? So they went one place. The other girls went and got some old time photos done. So while they're talking, they were talking about what happened on the bus, and they're basically saying that when it comes to Tamra and Heather, Heather and Tamra talk about the girls behind their backs, right? So then told you know Gina told Jen about the situation with the dress and the fact that Heather had text Tamra talking about the dress. And again, like I said earlier, I mean, I don't get the whole significance of the dress to Heather or to Tamra. I mean, I guess it's to say, look, she got all this stuff going on in her life, but she can't. I mean, she is doing stupid stuff. And I mean, let's just be real. She is doing some stuff that I'm like, I don't know if I would agree with that, but it is it is what it is. It is what it is, right? So after that, we see as the ladies they went out to dinner, right? Emily, you are a contradiction, my dear. Like I have an issue with Emily, and I'll tell you guys why, right? So they ordered their martinis when they got to dinner, and the size of the martini when they brought it out. Emily in her interview was like, they brought me the small one. They should have gave it to Heather, because I'm a big girl. It's like, but then you cry about your weight when you get put in bigger clothes. Like, girl, pick a lane and stay in it, Emily. Please, for the love of God, do one of them to me, right? So then Jen brought up the dress, right, to Heather. And Heather apologizes to her, but then she also says to her, "Oh, I was just worried about you. Like, I know that you only get $6,000 a month, and then you went and spent $2,000 on a dress." Basically, trying to say she's worried. She was just hopeful that she could afford the dress. Girl, no, it wouldn't. You were being shady and just stand in the shade. Be like, girl, you get $6,000 a month, and then you went and spent $2,000 of that for a damn dress to wear to an event. Girl, that ain't the smartest thing in the world to do. Like I would have had more respect for Heather if she had just said that. Say I was just being a little shady, and I got caught in it. And you know what, girl? If it hurt your feelings, I do apologize about hurting your feelings. I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. I was just trying to have a little shady moment with Tamara. That's it. That's all. But she couldn't say that, right? So then Shannon brought up the text message to what's her name, Tamra, and why come she didn't bring it up to the group when she brought it to her attention? Tamara wants to sit here and say, "Well, that's your issue with Alexis." I was like, "Girl, I know you lying." Tamara is, I cannot with Tamara. So then she and Shannon are going back and forth, and Shannon is telling her to stop talking about her, and Tamara tells Shannon to stop talking about her. It's like both of y'all stop talking about each other. But yeah, you guys, that's that with them too. Shannon got up and left the table to go to the bathroom, but then we see as the ladies were playing jokes on the men, right? And they sent a text to the men talking about I think they were naked or something like that. And so the men replied back to him, and it was funny. And Shannon kind of felt away, and I was like, "Oh, poor Shannon." Like I really felt bad for my Shannon. So we they go back to the rooms. They have a good time. Shannon went back to her room by herself, and I really felt bad for Shannon, right? So then the next morning, we see as Shannon is talking to Jen, and I forget who else was there with her, but she showed Jen a text message from Tamra. So Tamra, according to this text message, Tamara had hired someone, had someone do a background check on Ryan, and so Jen was livid about that, right? And I was like, Jen, this is the woman that you thought was your friend. I don't know why you thought she was your friend, but This is just showing you that Tamra Judge is only out for Tamra Judge. But hey, when I told you guys earlier in the review that the end of the episode was everything to me, baby, she raised that voice, Jen, that is, right? She stormed out of that hotel room and she stormed down to Tamara's room and she tore into Tamara, right? So she's talking about you got a background check. And Tamara was like, no, she didn't. But then she had to say, well, it was 2 years ago. And I would never pay for a background check. She's like, because you said he was in real estate, so she wanted to see if he had a license and stuff like that. I was like, okay, Tamara, but you just got caught, you caught yourself in a lie. So then Tamara started clapping, and Jen was like, "What are you clapping for?" And she said, "Because you're using your voice, even though you're not listening to what I'm saying, you're using your voice." I was like, "Oh, so you're gonna be condescending to her? Okay, cool." But Jen was giving it to her, to Tamara. She told her "fuck you" and all that kind of stuff, and she left that room. And I was so proud of. I was here for Jen. Like that's what I want from you, Jen. Stand up for yourself to Tamara. Like I don't know why you coming on the show. You and Tamara, yeah, y'all were friends behind the scenes, but once you're on this show, I feel like the gloves come off when it comes to Tamara. Like I really truly do. But yeah, you guys, that was the episode of Orange County. A great episode. Season 18 has been really good. And I would be fine if this whole entire cast comes back for season 19, with the exception of Alexis. Keep Alexis. But yeah, you guys, drop down in the comment section and let me know what you guys thought about this episode. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, you guys. Until then, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.